Okay, let's start. And I want to say verbally right now, this team was absolutely ready. They had their slides up on the screen long before I got here. It's impressive.
One of our team members is
Just throwing up right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're not, can you start without? You should.
Hey, good to see you today. My name is Tyler Brandt, and this is Eric Olson. We're here today with Leche Verde Consulting Company, and we're to talk to you about how you can better communicate with your audience. We're seeing more and more importance put on diversity every single day. You guys see this within your organization, and as we're seeing this importance put on, we're starting to look at
You're good.
we're starting to see problems sort of arise from this. And what sort of happens with these problems is we all communicate differently, and we all come from sort of different linguistic styles. And as we sort of see this, we got to come up with tools to better see how we can, or better learn how we can communicate with each other and understand where people are coming from. Eric's going to talk to you today about how you can do this in your speeches and how you can better connect with your audience.
Thank you, Tyler. So if you've ever read Harvard Business Review's 10 Must-Reads on Communication, Nick Morgan has a very good article about how to be a better, more authentic speaker. He's got 4 key points, 4 aims, and if you embody all 4 of these, you will be a much better, persuasive, authentic speaker. The first one being is to be more open with your audience. Don't be closed, especially with this organization you try to recruit. You want to be very friendly, personable. Think of it as you're talking with your best friend, family, just like I'm doing right now. With being open, you need to connect with the audience. You need to keep them with you. Grab their attention, have them follow you. Don't let their eyes wander around. You want their eyes and thoughts on you. As soon as you lose them, they're not retaining what you're talking about, and they're not going to even want to talk about what you just spoke about. Be passionate about your topic. You don't have to be tangibly passionate about the whole topic. You just need to figure out something you're passionate about with it. That being said, find something interpersonal that you like about it. What is your speech about today? What do you want the audience to take away from it? What's at stake? Ask yourself those why questions. Why are you there today? Why are they here today? If you do this, you look a lot more comfortable up in front of the audience, and you look a lot more personal and more human. The last thing is listen to your audience. Now, when you're having a speech, your audience can't stand up every 10 seconds and ask you questions, tell you what you're doing and all that. You got to connect with them, look for those nonverbal cues. It's very important. It's something humans have been doing their whole life. Look for rolling the eyes, sighing, distractions. And when you do this, you need to adjust your speech to them. Shorten it, lengthen it, make more time for questions at the end. So out of all this is not a linear process. This is iterative. You got to practice it. It's a mindset. To be an authentic speaker, you just got to practice it. My best advice for you is when you practice your speech, don't go word for word. Have your content, and then practice this mindset, and you will be a more authentic speaker.
So we're seeing that communication is really important, but also is diversity. And so it's really important to start leveraging these tools and working and figuring out how we can communicate with each other. Because if we can't do that, we can't have a powerful organization, and we can't really create change in the things that we want to do. So if you guys have any questions or anything that you'd like to follow up with, we'd love to talk to you about it and sort of have a conversation about how communication works and how you can better do that.
Thank you.
I do have a question for you. As a board, we expected you to talk about some work by Deborah Tannen and linguistic styles, and we didn't hear a lot about that, which is fine, but we're all fans of Tannen because we think she's pretty bang on the money in terms of talking with the effects of linguistic styles, but then we're women, so we tend to like her stuff. But here's a question we do have for you. On March the 3rd, The U.S. House of Representatives passed the For the People Act. It's H.R. number 1. Our president, I'm sure you remember, president of the board, said this landmark legislation is the biggest improvement to our democracy since the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The CEO, Virginia Case, said the League works tirelessly to make sure that every eligible voter has their voice heard in every election. A healthy democracy is one in which everyone has their voice heard. So one of the questions we have for your company, please, is how do you think we can use the ideas you just talked about to successfully increase the participation of the diverse population of potential voters that exists in America today? We only had 40% of the voters vote in the most recent elections. Do you guys have any advice, hopefully even something from Ms. Tannen that could help us out with that?
Yeah, and I mean, Ms. Tannen talks about sort of in the solution as being emotionally intelligent and sort of really looking at where people are coming from and sort of trying to identify what they've done and what they are looking for. So that's really important when you're looking at a demographic of minorities and different people who are not coming out and voting and you're trying to reach them. A way to do that is figure out where they're coming from, why they want to vote, and how you can connect with them. Not your view towards them, but their view and how they look out towards politics, government, and your organization as a whole. So the more you can sort of see it through their eyes and what they need and what their wants are and what would make them want to come out to an election, that's how you can learn to better educate them and better help that minority or that party or that person to come out and vote and be a part of something. Also, we were really glad to see in 2003 that you guys were super involved in that. A lot of your members were involved in that. That was really cool to see that bill get passed, and the other things that you guys have been a part in since the 1990s has been amazing and passed when the organization started.
Any specific thoughts about linguistic style?
So there's a lot of different things that come with linguistic styles, and everyone from different cultures to gender to race all have been where you grew up, all determine sort of your linguistic style. If you're a friend of or fond of Deborah Tannen, you sort of understand that women are sort of, when they're girls and boys sort of grow up differently, and from this they have different linguistic styles, and this can be sort of detrimental in the workplace for a lot of women. And so the more we can learn about how they talk and where they come from is the most important part. And so an example of that was women statistically are not as likely to show up and tell what they've done. They're more likely to give a compliment and not boast. And so the more we see that, the more we need to look at who's actually doing what and how we can recognize that. And that can cross over to looking at what parties you want to get, or what minorities or people you want to reach and how you can bring them in.
Okay, I'm going to have to kill you. Not that the quality of the answer was poor, we just got to keep rolling.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry you got ill.
Yes, I'm about to go get some Tamiflu.